He first argues that my example of the pregnancy drug does not stand because it was from the 1950s. If he had checked my citations, he would have realized that there are over 9 examples just in that article of drugs that were tested on animals in recent years that ultimately led to hundreds of thousands of complications and thousands of deaths. Animal testing is not a guarantee, and it is completely unethical to waste these lives, both human and animal, in ineffective testing. He then claims I said genetic practices should be used instead and genetics would be used on animals. I never even said the word genetics in my last rebuttal speech. Please toss this argument because it does not make sense or pertain to the round at all. He then tells us that animal testing works and gives examples. Conversely, I explain clearly why animal testing is unethical because it is an ineffective waste, leads to suffering and death, and prevents research into ethical alternative methods. He never tells us why working is actually an ethical thing. Throw that out. It doesn't meet the criterion. Next, he says animal testing on rodents saves lives of family pets like dogs and cats by developing vaccines for rabies and hepatitis. I have 2 main problems. First, animal testing is not done exclusively on rodents, but also on dogs and cats, the very animals whose lives he claimed it saves. Second, these vaccines were originally developed for humans, not for animals at all. This buys directly back into the anthropocentric logic that my opponent is deeply invested in. Actually, anthropocentrism is a dropped point in this round. He never refuted it. My opponent values the entire world only through what benefits humans, and this type of logic is what enables us to devalue animal species like rats and acts as an enabler for ecological destruction because we see them as dirty, worthless, and worthy of extinction. It is this genocidal thinking that promotes the extinction of both other species and other humans. My opponent deserves to be dropped for this uncalled for and extreme language. He says that without animal research, scientists couldn't win Nobel Prizes. 2 problems. First, he does not impact this out and tell me why I should care if people don't win Nobel Prizes too. It's a fallacy. People wouldn't not win prizes without animal research. They would just win prizes for other things like ethical alternative testing. Dropped points. He completely failed to extend his second and third contentions from his constructive, which were that animal testing prevents disease and no possible replacement to animals. Basically, the only arguments he has to stand on at the end of this round are that animal testing occasionally works and that rats are really bad. I win because both my case and my rhetoric remain ethical throughout the round, and I make an anthropocentrism point that my opponent never even touches and ultimately stands as the major round voter.